Welcome into this episode of the Gulag mock draft. We're going to go ahead and see what we got. We're about halfway through. We have two, three, we have 17 left to do. So after this one, we'll be halfway through. It is football time. We have about 600 hours until the NFL kicks off. I'm pumped. Week one of Hard Knocks is in the system. Let's see which spot I'm drafting from today. I am drafting from the number one spot, which is Andy Paluch's spot. She gets Christian McCaffrey. I'm already going to say it before the draft even starts. Back in her lap. She, for those of you guys obviously that don't know, we run a dynasty league, and Andy has had Christian McCaffrey for the past year. She traded him away for the house. She got like 4 first-round picks, and gave away Christian McCaffrey. She's in rebuild mode. She's going to be ecstatic to get Christian McCaffrey with the 101 this year's Gulag draft. So Ryan is in this draft as well. He is on the opposite end. We are drafting from the absolute ends of the draft. I have number 1 and I have 64, 65. Ryan's going to have 32 and 33. So let's get it started. Here we go. 101. Christian McCaffrey. I have nothing else to say. So obviously Christian McCaffrey has a week 13 bye in addition to make this spot even more valuable. As long as Andy doesn't screw up her draft, she's going to be looking great going forward. Of course, Ryan takes Le'Veon Bell with his first pick. That's a tradition at this point. Let's see what happens. Andy could definitely go ahead. What I'd recommend is, depending on the board, I'd probably recommend going back-to-back wide receiver, just because if we think about Christian McCaffrey, the good thing about him is he can really cover approximately what two average running backs can do. He'll have a stud week. Doesn't matter what the second running back does. So I'm probably going to be looking at doubling down on wideouts here for Andy. Andy's team here. We're looking at who's available for the wideouts. Want to take a quick glance at tight end. Nothing I love. Quarterback. So the big ones are gone, but we still see Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and Deshaun Watson are all there. Running backs, we got James White, so we could just pack on the passing running backs if we really, really wanted to. I think we for sure need to take at least one wide receiver. I love AJ Green this year, but I don't know if that's necessarily a safe pick for this type of league, knowing that he is coming off 0 games last season. So looking at some of these other options here, Stephon Diggs is very interesting. I could see her definitely doing this, but at the same time, I couldn't because she doesn't like Stephon Diggs, even though she's a Vikings fan. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to actually go ahead and do what I didn't want to do originally, but I'm going to take a second running back for sure. I'm going to take James White just because Sony Michel is going to be on the pup. So now her running backs are absolutely locked up. Let's see what she can do. She's going to hate this, but I'm taking Stephon Diggs as her wide receiver 1. So we're starting off right now with Christian McCaffrey, James White, and Stephon Diggs. How can you ask for a better start to a draft? Let's see what that actually looks like now when it comes back to us. Looking at the bye weeks, James White is a week 6 bye. I don't really think it matters who we're going to be putting in his spot because Christian McCaffrey is so god level that he can fill again. If someone would have a bad week, Christian McCaffrey's most likely going to go off. I think the least amount of points he had last season was 6. Let's double check that. All right. So PPR last year, he had a 7-point game. That is the worst he had. Even in week 17, when he was taken out very early in the game, he still scored 22 points. How can you get a much safer option? You can't. Christian McCaffrey is just an absolute man. All right, let's look at the wide receivers now. Sterling Shepard staring me in the face. He's probably going to be a really good option. Golden Tate is really interesting as well. PPR monster with the Giants. Running backs. Don't love any of these options right here. I like Nyheim Hines, but I don't think that's necessary because running back is the least of our concern right now. Anthony Miller is kind of interesting as well. He had a really good end of the year with the Bears. Um, Golden Tate, though, is the guy with the Giants. I'm taking Golden Tate. He's my second wideout. Now, look at Stephon Diggs and Golden Tate of week 11 buys. I'm perfectly fine with that. If we make it to that point, there's going to be so much better options on the free agency. Peek at the quarterbacks here. We got Daniel Jones, Ben Roethlisberger, Baker Mayfield. Kind of interesting in the 5th. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Ryan Tannehill. Those are our top options. At the tight end, we have Noah Fant, also very interesting. Austin Hooper, TJ Hawkinson, and Mike Gesicki. Also, all very, very interesting. I would have liked to get a Jared Cook type guy right here, but he was taken at the 416. So that unfortunately is not going to be happening. So now I need to decide, do I want to go with my tight end or do I want to go with my flex? If I go with my flex, it's going to be a wide receiver. I look at all the wide receivers available, probably leaning towards a Sterling Shepard or an Anthony Miller. Here's the problem. I don't know if I want two Giants wide receivers in my lineup. With that in mind, I think I'm going to go, I think I can wait on tight end. Doesn't matter who ends up taking one. I'm definitely taking Golden. I'm going to take Sterling Shepard. I'm going to double down on Giants wide receivers here. So if we look at my lineup here, I got Christian McCaffrey, James White, Sterling Shepard, Stephon Diggs, and Golden Tate. That's a really, really good lineup right now. Very, very safe. Stephon Diggs, I guess you can call him a gamble. Sterling Shepard has a very wide history of concussions, but all these guys are healthy right now. They're going to be targeted a lot. If you look at all 5 of these guys, they're going to get a ton of targets. I'm okay passing with the tight end and quarterback. We'll reevaluate when it comes back to us. Tight ends are not looking pretty right now, that's for sure. So now it's just a matter of, do I want to wait for a tight end? Take a guy like Dawson Knox. Well, look at the quarterbacks right now. I got Philip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, Gardner Minshew, Derek Carr, and Sam Darnold. I think I'm going to take one of those, but we also need to consider that I have a vacancy at tight end. I think we're safe with our starting lineup right now. With that in mind, we need to take two more picks right now that are going to go right into our starting lineup. Let's take a look at the defense. So we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. Who did the Cowboys play in week one? The Rams. Rams on obviously will play the Cowboys. The Chiefs play against the Texans. Packers play against the Vikings. Bengals the Chargers. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to look at the quarterback position. I think she's going to take her guy, Kirk Cousins, here. Do I recommend it? Gardner Minshew has the biggest ceiling by far of this group, but I'm okay with taking Kirk Cousins here and kind of matching out that starting lineup. So now it's just a matter of, do I want to go with a tight end or do I want to go with a defense? I've shown you guys before in previous mock drafts, if you watch, that tight ends, whether you love the position or not, at least startable ones will fall. So I'm going to go with the defense. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to consider either the Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, or the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have a really good defense. They're going to be playing it at home in the first game. Now, does that even matter in terms of fans? No, it doesn't. But also, we need to think about training camp. All these teams, they haven't had any training camp at all. It's just like basic training camp. They're obviously not going to get any preseason games. I think it's going to be talent that prevails. Now, Texans have actually a pretty solid offense. So that's something I also need to keep in mind. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Chiefs defense. Um, they really, really showed out in the second half of the season. So if we look at my roster right now for Andy's team, I got Kirk Cousins, Christian McCaffrey, James White, Stephon Diggs, and Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and the Chiefs defense. So I'm going to have to take a tight end here coming up. All right, tight ends on my mind. Greg Olson's sitting right there. He's the most appealing of the starting tight ends. Chris Herndon's getting hyped up a lot with the Jets. So those are the two I'm considering. Not really considering kicker right now. I want to see who else is out there. I'm first of all going to take Dwayne Haskins. I'm knocking out the starting quarterback position from someone else. So I played a little bit of defense there. Now I have to take a tight end. When I look at these two guys right here, I know that Russell Wilson loves the tight end. I'm taking Greg Olson. Going to be my starting tight end, at least to start the year for Andy. With this in mind, one team will not be starting a starting quarterback. That's kind of giddy. That gets me giddy to think about. That's a fat zero unless someone plays like Taysom Hill or an unpronounced injury would happen. All right, here we go. Look at the quarterbacks. No starters at all. So I'm not even going to look at that. Tight end, I think we need a backup. So looking here, I see Chris Herndon. I'm taking him right off the bat. It's just a matter of which tight end do I want to start. Next, I'm going to take my kicker. You need to get a kicker that's going to be a starter right away. Chris Boswell, I think the Steelers' offense is definitely going to rebound. So it's just a matter of do I want Boswell or do I want Michael Badgley with the Chargers? I'm biased. I'm taking Michael Badgley as my kicker. I freaking love this starting lineup for Andy. So we got Kirk Cousins, Christian McCaffrey, and James White, Stephon Diggs and Golden Tate, Greg Olsen, Sterling Shepard in the flex, Michael Badgley, and the Chiefs defense. Then on the bench right now, we have a starting tight end in Chris Herndon. We have a starting quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. If we don't even touch the starting lineup with those two guys, we're blocking someone from having a starter on the team. To be honest, this last pick's just going to be somewhat of a defensive pick. Look that all 32 NFL defenses have been drafted. So now it's just a matter of do I want to take one of these kickers to prevent someone else from picking one up? If you look at some of these other options, it's whatever. We're in the last pick of the Gulag draft. Let's have some fun. I'm going to go ahead here and scroll through and see who the most interesting option is. I'm going to take another starting tight end. I'm taking Dan Arnold, starting tight end for the Arizona Cardinals, because I'm preventing one other team from going ahead and taking a starting tight end. So let's look at this team here. We got Kirk Cousins, Christian McCaffrey, and James White, Stephon Diggs and Golden Tate, Greg Olsen at the tight end, Sterling Shepard in the flex, Michael Badgley, the Chiefs defense, and then my bench is Dwayne Haskins, Chris Herndon, Dan Arnold. Holy shit. I can't get over how much I love this team. A lot of PPR monsters. Very, very safe draft. Should be able to get through at least 5 or 6 weeks and then reconsider how she wants to spend her fab money. Thanks for watching this episode of the Gulag. This might be one of my better drafts yet. See you next time.